Hello, lovely Eastbourne Bavarians. How are you all? Are you all lovely and sweaty? No, you don't do that in Eastbourne, do you? You're not sweaty here at all. Perspire, that's what you do here, don't you?
Glisten.
Glisten and glow. Lovely, lovely. Thank you for coming out. How nice to see you all here. It's been a while. I would have popped over to see you. I live in St Leonard's because I think I was here last in March 2020. Yes, well, that's been a while, isn't it? But I couldn't pop over because of the rules, you know, so I didn't. But no, it's like you all look magnificent, actually. Can I just say that? You all look magnificent, but then you would, given that you've probably done absolutely nothing for 2 years, haven't you? So that's fair enough. So, no, lovely. Thank you so much for coming. Who is here for the first ever time at a Bavard bar? Whoa! You're going to so regret putting your hands up. Love it. Well, the thing is, so this is the Bavard bar, as you know. Bavard comes from Bavard, which means to chat in French. And the premise of the night is I have 3 speakers who come and give an impassioned talk about something they love for about 15 minutes. So there's quite a few of you, but if the first 3 that put their hands up, if you'd like to come down here and take the mic. No? Oh, okay. So you don't like that. Right, well, no, the thing is, I have all the speakers are pre-booked. I mean, I don't know why I use the word pre there. All the speakers are booked in advance. And I have 3 fantastic speakers tonight I'm going to tell you about in a minute. And in fact, really, really excitingly, because last month, or a couple of months ago in St Leonard's, celebrated the 5-year anniversary of the Bavard Bar in St Leonard's, which deserves a massive kind of whoop. Thank you. Yes, exciting. No, you weren't there, obviously, but never mind. Thank you. But it's actually been over 5 years because I started the first ever Bavard in Eastbourne, and I'll come back to that in a minute. But yeah, and at the anniversary, I had an amazing talk by someone called Sophie Meyer. She gave a brilliant talk about chocolate. So she gave this fantastic talk about chocolate. And what was lovely was that at the end of the talk, she gave out some samples, which was really nice and really good for you to have, because one of the speakers tonight is talking about crack cocaine and hash cakes. So, yes, no, I'm only joking. He's not talking about hash cakes. Yes, anyway, that's the premise is that the 3 speakers are booked in advance, and they're going to come and share their passions with you shortly. I'm going to tell you who they are, and because they are amongst you, and I'm going to tell you what they're going to talk about in just a moment. But before I get to that, what I normally do at the Bavard, just for a few minutes, just to sort of warm you up and say hi, is I like to tell you about what I've done since the last show. Because I do the shows every month. So back in March 2020, so I thought this is 2.5 years, I can't really go there. I have done quite a bit. So I thought I won't do that. I'll have a look at some of the talks that we had, because we did about 5 months of shows here before the thing, you know, we had to stop. And I had a look at those talks to see, you know, just to refresh myself as to what they were. And we had some amazing talks in that very short period of time. Before that, I did the show at Printers Playhouse on Grove Road. And then sort of outgrew the venue there. It was lovely, lovely. I love Printers. And so, do you all know Printers? Do you all love them? Yeah, it's a great place. And but moved here just because of size and space. And but I had a look at the shows we did here. And in fact, one of the speakers who got tonight, he gave a brilliant talk about the craze and how they saved his life. This is back just before true story, just before we had to close down. I had to talk about how America saved the English language. We had, true as well. But it never goes down very well when I tell people we're going to have a talk about that. At the end of it, they go, goodness me, they really did, didn't they? And it's quite fascinating. But, and we had to talk about climbing Mount Mont Blanc and Mount Aconcagua, and those sorts of things. Wonderful talks. But the one I just wanted to focus on very quickly tonight, because I thought it was incredibly prescient, and I'll just see if anyone we all knew really, but I'll see. It was called Science Fiction and the End of the World. Was anybody in? Anybody remember that? Yeah, you were here, pal. Well, Ben Bailey gave this talk about science fiction and the end of the world, and of course, then we had to close down because of you know what. And I thought that's incredibly prescient. And I had a look at the talk that he gave, and I just want to share with you, just very quickly, just 2 slides, because they were quite fascinating. So here they are. So what he did is he came up with an empirical scientific formula. He's a sci-fi movie nerd, you see. And he said, look, the thing is, it's empirical, and this is how you get to sci-fi. Because Inception, that's the year the film was made. The story context, SC, that's the year that it takes place in the future. And then you have that creates the futuristic interval, the distance into the future, okay? And you get SC, story context, minus the inception is the futuristic interval, okay? So the year that it's kind of set, minus the year it's made, gives you this futuristic interval. Now the point that he then made, and he is a real nerd, and it was a brilliant talk, and he had gone into all the films, which go back to about the 50s, and he produced this graph. So here you are. This goes back to sort of the mid-1900s, okay, when they first started producing sci-fi films. And what you can see from this blue line here, this is the futuristic interval, based on the time periods that are showing here. Basically, everything is reducing until, he said, getting to about the 2020s, if you look at the far right, essentially what he concluded is if you go and see a sci-fi movie now, when you leave the cinema, the world is likely to have ended. And that was what he that's what he proved. I asked him to come and give the talk in St Leonard's, and unfortunately I timed it rather badly because he gave the talk in December, just gone, just as we had Omicron. So that was an interesting night as he sort of depressed the audience with the fact they were unlikely to make it home that night.